Good day everyone and welcome to another episode on the RiverStyx server. I've just logged onto the server after a couple of days off and there are these signs everywhere talking about food. And there was a zombie pigman and a villager in a boat over here, that's what that one's all about. Have a Vegemite sandwich, steak yourself some food. There's a lot of them. This one even over here telling me this is my important chest. The reason for this is a few weeks ago, over the last couple of weeks should I say, I've been AFK a couple of times. And I can't, and I keep forgetting to make my character eat while I'm AFK, sorry. So I've come back on, and I think it was Bebop put all these signs around, and they are just everywhere. And I can't help but feel like I'm gonna be finding these for months and months and months, telling me all the different types of foods I can eat, things I can't eat. Yeah, so there's a lot of them around. Even here on the Trick or Treat game, there's a couple. And as I fly around, you start spotting them on the house, all around cake. There's all the different types on bits of grass, on the end of this thing, whatever this is, and then just scattered around everywhere. And it's just crazy. Don't worry about that. We'll worry about that later on in this episode. And then how to prevent starvation, and they literally made this little I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just every kind of food, cooked versions, non-cooked versions and everything. It's absolutely hilarious. I think this is the best thing ever. But while we have a good giggle about that, it's time to move on to today's task. So as I mentioned in part 1 of the Halloween special, we're going to turn this whole area here into a cemetery. Now if you look carefully from the torches, let me just go up here. If we look over here, what we can see is you can see a bit of an outline I've created using torches, and that's just sort of marking out essentially where the little footpaths are going to go. So there'll be a footpath going across there, there'll be another one coming up there, and down there. This will be sort of like a square. I plan on putting like a small mausoleum or something like that in the middle there. Something maybe like a little funeral home or something if I can fit it. I'll have to sort of see how I go. I don't have a design yet, I'm just going to sort of make it up as I go. And then you can sort of see that, yeah, like you'll have it coming off the entrance and it'll just sort of go out in smaller paths and things like that. I've already got a design that I want to use for the paths, which I'm quite happy with. And then there's going to be a big fence all the way around this, and I've got to do a little bit of terraforming around these edges, not too much because it's not looking too bad. And I've got all the supplies I need here, quite a lot of them as you can see, but I don't think this is going to be enough when I look at how big this area is. So I'm going to start by doing all the footpaths and things like that. Once I have those, I'll have a better idea of what sort of space I've got to work with. This bit will probably go last, and then we'll start laying out all the terraining. So basically everything, all these stones are going to be covered, everything here is going to be covered with things like this, and all the paths are going to be made of things like this. So there's a bit more to it than that, but yeah, I'll get into a real quick time lapse and we'll go do these floors, and then I'll talk to you about the rest. Alright, okay, so we have now finished this area. I was with the diary. Oh, who's put... I missed a whole spot here. Give me 2 seconds. Alright, try that again. Alright, so this is all done now. The floor at least anyway. So basically, this is the entrance over here. I've had a little bit of play with these lamp designs here. These are very similar to the ones that Good Times with Scar used in Aquatown, or Aquitown, as he wrote it, in Season 6 of Hermitcraft. And I really love the design of these lampposts. Like, the further away you get, I think they look better as well. So I've just been sort of having a bit of a play as to positioning. I was thinking of the corners, but I think this is just far too overcrowded. So I'm going to get rid of most of these and probably come up with a slightly different design. So ignore those for now. But basically, we got the pathways going around, and then this is where all the graves will be. You got little paths. So it sort of starts as a nice wide path heading straight up to the middle. And then it gets a slightly wider path, and then they get, slightly narrow path, and then they get narrower again as they keep going like this. And Spider decided to bury himself, and if we actually look inside, because I went to remove this, it's actually got Spider there with his little redstone hands. Not part of my plan, but I think I might leave that for now. Over here in the middle, so we've just sort of come from the entrance over there. This is going to be, you'll notice a big green grassed area. This won't be grass. This will probably be something very similar to this, but we'll sort of wait out and see. It's going to be some sort of like a funeral home or something like that in the middle here. Just somewhere where people come to sort of say goodbye to the deceased before they get buried into one of the lots that we haven't put in yet. Obviously, we need to put all the lots in, but that'll come later on. Now, I did a little bit of a competition in our Discord on something, and Bebop won. And basically, the competition was basically that whoever won would have my next build named after them. So this is going to be Bebop Cemetery. He didn't realize he was trying to win his name being put on a cemetery, but there you go. So I had a bit of a chat with Bebop, and he's basically asked if he can build the funeral home just behind me here. And I've agreed to that. I think that's a fantastic idea. So we're going to leave that bit for him. And what we'll do at the moment is we now need to build a big gate around this whole thing. Normally cemeteries will have big gates around them. So this is actually a massive area. I still need to change the floor here, but because all my shulker boxes are here, I just sort of worked around it. I'll do that at the very end. Now, flying over this area, it doesn't look absolutely enormous, but when you start walking through it, you start realizing that this is me sprinting. And, you know, you start walking around the whole thing. Try that again. Okay, wonderful. Now I've had something to eat. So this is me sprinting, and as you can sort of see, as I go around this whole thing, you know, it keeps going out there and out that side and out this side. But even just like to get from one end to the other, if you're using the footpaths, which we usually will, it takes quite a long time just to walk it. So this is quite a huge area. So there's still got a lot of work to do. Let's have a quick sleep. All right, so now I'm just going to build the walls around this thing. So pretty much the design that I've come up with for the walls, we're going to have like a stone brick wall along the bottom. And then what we're going to have is polished deep slate walls going up 2 and 3 with iron bars in between. So that'll go all the way along. And we'll do this roughly every 8. Now it's not going to be exactly 8 because we do have to follow the sort of the curve of the road and things like that. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do in that respect. But let me just do this little section. I'll be right back. So just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to basically build them like this with one gap in between, and we'll just fill that area with more of those iron bars as well. So it'll end up having a look something like that. Now, then what we're going to do is we're just going to top off each of these posts with a soul lantern. So we'll go one there, one there, one there. You'll notice it thickens up the wall as well, and there as well. So basically that's more or less what we're going to be looking at when we're walking around this whole thing. The whole cemetery is going to just basically have this all the way around it. Nice tall walls that you can't really jump over. That you know, they look pretty, you know, sort of. They look like cemetery walls. They got a little bit of lighting on them that's not going to really do much. That being said, 1.18 is just around the corner, and once that comes, this will actually stop mobs from spawning in around about this small area here. Not much, but still something. I am going to try and mob-proof this as much as possible. So my plan is to use this glow lichen as the way to spawn proof the area. As you can see, if I put it over certain blocks, it kind of blends in, and it sort of just adds a bit more color and texture. So you can see over here, there's a little bit bland. So if I chuck that there, it just adds that tiny little bit more texture, just that little bit of a corner over there. And it will actually help mob proof. So these only give off a light level of 7, which normally means that mobs can spawn anywhere around them. But once 1.18 comes out, they can only spawn in light level of 0, which basically means that 7 blocks away from this will still be spawn proofed. So as long as I put them roughly every sort of 7 or 8 blocks, I don't want to have them in a perfect grid. I want to sort of scatter them like this so they look a bit like that. But I'll pretty much go around and I'll try and make it so it's as mob proofed as possible, so we don't have creepers and things like that blowing things up. But anyway, so the lighting's going to have to wait until a little bit later. That's just something that I am planning on doing. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to start doing all these walls. And while I'm doing that, why don't you watch a little bit of a montage of some people messing around in the trick-or-treat house trying to get their treats. And I'll see you after that. Alright, and we are done. Now, before I show you all the walls, I just want to quickly explain a couple of things. So, while I was doing the walls, I've had Ghostbuster that has come out, and he's basically done a bunch of trees for us, a bunch of dead trees. I asked if anyone knows how to do some dead trees. He's come up with some fantastic designs, and I basically just let him have free reign of it, and he put a bunch of trees all over the place for us. And Bebop has also been in, and he's built his mausoleum. So, without further ado, let's go and have a look at the cemetery as it stands at the moment, still without any tombstones. So this is what we have now. So you can see a bunch of dead trees. These are the fences the gates or fences that I've put up. They're a little bit tricky in some parts, like here where it sort of goes up and then it comes back down and things like that. And even like over here where it sort of goes zigzaggy. So I didn't quite stick with the exact 8 like every 8 because it wasn't quite that easy, but I've done my best to sort of do what I can when I can, bits like that. We've also got a couple of new residents to the cemetery. Thought that was quite fitting. These are actually did belong to Billy Bob Turkey, and she's donated them to the cemetery, so I think that's really nice of her. Let's quickly go sleep and I'll keep showing you around. So as we come up through the main entrance here now, you got the mausoleum right in front of us. I think it looks fantastic the way he's built it. Now, he hasn't done the interior yet. There's still more to go. So this is all that we have for an interior. And there's plenty of space behind these blocks as well. Well, I say plenty of space, but there is some space anyway. So I can't wait to see what he does there. But in the meantime, we at least have a mausoleum. And we also have these magnificent trees. So we've got a few different designs. We've got some of these lighter trees like this. You can use some of the coral blocks and things like that as leaves. Then we've got some of these like darker, deep slate ones. And the idea is everything's just meant to look like dead trees. There's a couple of creeper holes I've got to repair as well, and I've got to do something about this floor because it can't stay as green grass because the whole thing's meant to look dead, not alive. And it looks like there was a little bit of shenanigans that went on here because Swarmy's put a couple of gravestones saying Bebop did this to Swarmy, which I think is quite hilarious. They probably can't stay there, but we'll do our best to sort of incorporate them somewhere. But yeah, so that is the cemeteries. That's the main foundation of it all. So there's another creeper hole with a horse in it. So from up here, as we can see, there's lots of space. What we need to do now is the tombstones. So I'm about to jump into a live stream. If you ever want to watch one of these, you go over to twitch.tv/AusCrafterSim. I stream Monday and Friday nights from this server at 8:30 PM Australian Western Time. So make sure you tune in there if you want to watch one of these live streams. But I'm going to jump in the live stream now, in about 10 minutes from now, and we're going to start laying out all these tombstones. So if you were in the live stream, thanks for being there. And if you weren't, you'll see it in the video. I'll be back very shortly with you guys, and the cemetery will be very close to finish. See you soon. And here it is. Cemetery. Almost complete. Still do some lighting. We've got a resident ghost. Now, I did have plans to do a few more ghosts and things like that, but as you guys are aware, we did have, I've had to move and things like that quite a few times now, and essentially this cemetery just hasn't been finished, and I'm not going to have time to finish it, sadly, because I've got so much more cities to do, so we're going to have to leave it as it is for now, but I still think it looks absolutely amazing. We've got all the tombstones in, alright, we've got some singles, we've got them, they're all like different ages as well. We've got some single ones, we've got some double ones, so like a husband and wife or something like that. Over here we've got flowers, and we even have some of these have little cactuses, plus of course our awesome trees that we got from Ghostbuster, which is just absolutely amazing. But yeah, so that's it. That's all done. Now I did have plans for a lot more mobs to be in here, and one of the things that I wanted to do, which I've just never had time to do, and sadly I'm not going to be able to do now, is this. You'll just see me say at the beginning of the episode not to worry about these guys, and that you'd find out more about these later on. What we have here is a whole heap of evokers. Alright, so basically, we get away from the shores, you can see all the you see all the Vexes come out. This is what I wanted flying around the cemetery, just a whole heap of these. So they were going to be hidden in places that you wouldn't really see, that the evokers would be hidden in places you wouldn't really see them. And then this guy's really angry. I've got to get out of here. And then the idea is that, yeah, as you're flying around or as you're walking around, you'd start getting little Vexes coming at you. You'd have all these little flying ghosts just hanging around, along with skeleton horses, skeletons, and of course, not to mention, you know, a couple of ghasts would be there as well. And yeah. Now, if you're wondering why he's not shooting at me or anything like that, it's simply because I've actually got a block of glass in his head. So, like right in the center of his skull, if you put a block of glass or even a glass pane, it'll actually block his view, and he won't be able to see you. This episode has taken a lot longer than I wanted it to come out. And as I'm sure you're aware, this has been long awaited since October last year. So it's around about 6 months late, and I do apologise for that. But you know, I think it was worth the wait. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm loving the fencing all around. I love the gravel. I love all the tombstones. I think it's turned out really well. We've got the mausoleum here built by Bebop. And yeah, so Bebop Cemetery is done. Sadly, that is all I have time for today. I really do thank you for joining me. Sorry this has taken so long, but I'm sure you guys all understand. You're an absolutely awesome audience, and I just really want to say thank you for that, for your patience. But yes, this is Halloween episode part 2. Cemetery is now complete, and we can finally move on from Halloween. I'll see you all next time. Say goodbye to the ghast. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!